Then he went, Donald Trump, yeah, Donald Trump. We are a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat. We have to keep our country gate, but it's not, I mean, for some reason, it's just not great anymore. Sephardi, a rhino named Mitt Romney. She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. And he voted for Obama amnesty. In normal times, roughly 40% of fresh vegetables and about 40%. He made some statements, rough statements on Jewish. You heard them and you know them well. If you care about law and order, she gets over that big barbell and she gets it up and she's so proud of herself. She gets it up. And they're proud, they're clapping, they're going crazy. I can't do it, Mom, I can't. Well, she couldn't do it. So there's a shark 10 yards away from the boat, 10 yards. Do I get electrocuted? If the boat is sinking, water goes over the battery, the boat is sinking. Do I stay on top of the boat and get electrocuted? Or do I jump over by the shark and not get electrocuted? When they gaze upon Yosemite's towering sequoias, building something called Truth Central. And the great General and President Ulysses S. Grant, no more drop boxes. The drop boxes are just so bad. No more drop boxes. Units of plasma. I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation, the beginnings of that investigation. And let me begin by wishing you a beautiful, look, you remember this? Do you remember? Free health care for illegal, fake infrastructure. We inherit the legacy of you know what, right? Just this week it was reported that an illegal and you just look at this, what's happening. They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. We've endorsed JP, right? JD Mandel, and he's doing great. And then we beat Barack Hussein Obama and whatever the hell dynasty that is. Joe Biden won against Barack Hussein Obama. Has anyone ever heard of him? Nikki Haley is in charge of security. We offered her 10,000 people. Soldiers, National Guard, so whatever they want, they turned it down.
You're saying Marla's in this photo?
That's Marla, yeah. That's my wife.
Which woman are you pointing to? No.
Here.
Carol.
Oh, is that?
The person you just pointed to was Jean Carroll.
Who is that? Who is this? Languages that nobody in this country speaks. You know, we don't even have teachers of some of these languages. Who would think that? Are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
No teacher should ever be allowed to teach transgender to our children without parental consent. Right, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? And they say the noise causes cancer. You tell me that one, okay? Has anyone ever seen The Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He's a wonderful man. He oftentimes would have a friend for dinner. This is not about virtue, cycling, and signing. And God bless the United States. Thank you very much.
All right, everybody. What a sad state of affairs on which we start tonight. But it is that day. It is the first non-State of the Union of a presidential term. I'm wearing my glasses because I predict I will probably be asleep before this thing ends. And I welcome you. We are about an hour away from Trump giving a joint address to Congress. It is effectively a State of the Union address, except when the president's only been president for 5 weeks. They tend to just call it a joint address to Congress. members of the Senate, over in the House of Representatives, a larger chamber in which Donald Trump will discharge his duty, and they will sit there and listen. And we have friends in the gallery today. Our good friend Carlos Eduardo Espina is there as a guest, a friend of the show, Ro Khanna. And so many other things are going to be going on today. So we are going to be welcoming in everybody. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome. If you're watching on Twitch, welcome. If you're watching on Facebook, hi. If you're watching on X, okay, we're on there. Okay, we're on there. That's as far as I'm willing to go. These glasses completely fake, by the way. It's just like Dave Rubin. It's just for the look. No, I'm kidding. I can't see a thing. If it weren't for the glasses, I wouldn't even know I was streaming. Let me put it that way. Are the glasses from Milan? They are not. You want to hear do people want a real Milan story involving Kobe Bryant? Can I tell you a quick story? Do we have a minute for a quick story? I could tell it on Twitter. People don't want the Kobe story. No, here's the story. When I was in Milan in the 1950s, when I was in Milan in, it must have been like 2014 or something like that. I went over to the Duomo, the big church there in Milan. And I just walk in and I'm looking around. It's dark, it's very somber and sober in the big church. And I'm looking around and there's just a guy next to me, right? And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this guy's tall. And then I just look over and it's Kobe. And I said, what on earth is going on here? And, it's very quiet in there. And it was very, very, few people in the church. And we just look at each other and I kind of look like, what? And he nods and I go, great, with peace and love. And then later I started doubting, was that really Kobe Bryant? And on the local news, they had a whole report about how Kobe was in town going to a game with the local Milan soccer club, Saka. And that's the whole story. It was really Kobe. And then much later, tragedy struck him. So that's basically the whole story. Okay, many questions from the audience about what to expect tonight. Let me kind of lay some of the groundwork of what I will be paying attention to and what I'm sort of curious about, but I'll give you the lay of the land. These speeches in the modern era, since they went from being written speeches to spoken word, start at 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk about what would make it a short speech versus what would make it a long speech. I'll tell you kind of like the upper bound and the lower bound. And then we will talk a little bit about the substance topics and sort of the procedure. But what I will tell you, is this the first pseudo State of the Union for anybody in the audience? Is there anyone who has either been disconnected from politics for their whole life or is young enough that this is the first one of these that you will be watching? Anybody at all? Anybody at all in the audience for whom this is the first one? We don't know. We just don't know. Okay. What will happen at some point close to 9 p.m. is that Donald Trump's motorcade will head from the White House to the Capitol building. It's a very short ride. Trump will then be announced and then everybody will cheer. Now, I know that this is going to be jarring for some people in the audience. There are people who maybe have not seen this before who will say, how is it that even Democrats are going to clap for the mango menace, for the amber abomination, for the tangerine terror, for the I don't know. How is it that Democrats are going to clap? There's a lot of formulaic aspects to this. And at first, everybody claps because you're clapping for the office of the presidency. You will then see many, maybe dozens of lines during the speech where only half the audience will stand, probably Republicans. Sometimes the opposition party, in this case, Democrats, will clap kind of satirically, you might say. We'll see if we get any of that. I will play for you one of the most vile moments at that time from a State of the Union. This was when Congressman Joe Wilson yelled, "You lie," at former President Obama. Obama. At the time, this was considered the most vile and disgusting act perpetrated during a State of the Union. Since, we've seen Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert attend and behave even more pathetically. So this was at the time a very high bar. Okay, take a look.
Claim that our reform efforts would ensure illegal immigrants. This too is false. The reforms I'm proposing would not apply to those who are here illegally.
Disgusting behavior, but of course a lot of things have happened since then, and it no longer seems so wacky and crazy. All right, so you'll see that. My hope is that the speech doesn't last longer than 90 minutes. If we're still going after 10:35, I'm guessing the speech will start at 5 after, because there's about 5 minutes of sort of walking in. If the speech is still going after 10:35 East, then it won't be good. It won't be good. Let's look at some of the super chats that are coming in, seeing what's on people's minds. Zach says, David, given Trump's health issues and age with that letter from Starmer, I think it's a possibility his vision is blurry and he has eye floaters. Completely plausible. A completely plausible thing. Desiree says, can we get an Obama to start the night to help morale? Of course. Obama. There we go. DC says, as a Canadian, I have to ask, with the trade war heating up and Trump proposing reciprocal tariffs, how far could this escalate? Could U.S.-Canada relations completely break down? You know, I think they could. And in fact, I have something for you here. Wait, where is it? Take a listen to this.
Now I want to speak directly to one specific American. Donald.
Donald hates being called Donald.
In the over 8 years you and I have worked together, we've done big things. We signed a historic deal that has created record jobs and growth in both of our countries. We've done big things together on the world stage, as Canada and the US have done together for decades, for generations. And now we should be working together to ensure even greater prosperity for North Americans in a very uncertain and challenging world. Now, it's not in my habit to agree with the Wall Street Journal, but Donald, they point out that even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do.
And I agree with that completely. I think that this is an extraordinarily dumb thing for Trump to be doing. It's crashing stock markets and generating all sorts of chaos. And we will see where this ultimately all lands. Other super chats. Mr. Strats asks, how effed are we 1 to 10? You know, I think we'll be able to more accurately answer that question in about a couple hours. So stick around and then we will see. A few other notes about State of the Union addresses. The first one was delivered by George Washington on January 8th of 1790. At the time, New York City was the capital, and that's where George Washington delivered that speech. Washington also is the guy who has had the shortest State of the Union, just over 1,000 words. The longest was Jimmy Carter's in 1981, 33,000 words. And in terms of duration in person, Bill Clinton's 2000 speech, is Bill Clinton still the longest? Now, I don't know if this still holds. It was 90 minutes. Franklin D. Roosevelt delivered the largest number of State of the Union addresses, which of course makes a lot of sense. There is a tradition of the designated survivor. One cabinet member skips the speech in case catastrophe should happen and the entire Capitol were to be, I guess, blown off the map. You want someone in the chain of succession to be separated. We also have a number of different kind of specific situations that have happened. William Henry Harrison and James Garfield never delivered a State of the Union because they died too soon after taking office. A lot of people don't know that. We also saw Ronald Reagan postpone the State of the Union in 1986 after the Challenger shuttle disaster happened earlier that same day. And that is sort of a unique situation. Two things I will be listening for tonight and listening for very strongly. Number one, how does Trump address what seems to be a collapsing economy? Does he say there'll be some short-term pain, but we're going to all get through it and it's going to be great. We're going to grow. It's going to be awesome. And what does he say about Putin? And does he just seem to absolutely suck at the teat of Russian propaganda, for lack of a better term? Those are the two areas that I am sort of most curious about, and we will soon see. Other super chats are coming in here. Hold on. How much worse do you think limitations on free press are going to get, and how do we fight back? We fight back by supporting progressive independent media. I don't know how bad it will get, but we're bracing for bad. Stuart says he loves Bernie's anti-oligarchy tour. Very nice. Bobby says, Dave, I like you because you keep me balanced. Mary says, I'm terrified. I'm excited to see what kind of absurd thing Trump will say today. Every day is just a reality comedy show. Well, it's a reality show. Look, here is Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh entering the chamber where they will witness Donald Trump discharge his constitutional duty. Aaron says, David, would you ever consider having Dean Withers on the show? He expressed interest. Yes, I texted him yesterday. I said, let's do something. Chakaseki says, David, amazing coverage as always. Excited for the Orange Terra to try to sadly clap back at Trudeau's direct comments. He spoke to him as one would a child throwing a tantrum. Yes, very much so. JJ, do you think Trump is a threat to separation of church and state? I never liked MAGA because of their extreme Christian views. Of course, Trump's not even Christian, but he'll do whatever it takes to get good marks, as he says. And so he will kowtow to the religious right. Joseph says, David, libertarian here, Trump supporter. I like your channel and wish you well. Maybe the only right-wing supporter here. Oh, no. There are, if you just look at the chat, you very quickly see you are not the only right-winger here. That is for sure. BM says Democrats need to take the gloves off. Trump is not a traditional politician. Democrats need to wake up. Democrats need to wake up now. We are monitoring a number of different feeds here as to what is taking place tonight. So we will keep an eye on all of this. If you're just joining us, Donald Trump's speech will be starting soon, sooner maybe than many of us would like, but also it's never too soon. Here's Hogan Gidley, the guy I debated on Megyn Kelly's show. Can anybody fact check me? Is that Hogan Gidley there? Yes, no? Anybody know? I think it is Hogan Gidley. Okay, anyway. Bobby says, am I interested in replacing Destiny? I don't even know what that means. Replacing him where? Krusty says Trump is a KGB asset. Lot going on there. Let's go through just a couple of other things while we are here. Egg price tracker, as you can see, absolutely nuclear. You don't have to be, or nuclear. Hold on, do I have that? Do I have my Bushisms? Oh, I don't know where I've got these. They seem gone. Oh, wait, here it is. I've got it.
Nuclear proliferation.
Nuclear proliferation. You don't need to be a genius to know that this is not exactly a decline in egg prices that Donald Trump promised. That's for sure. So that's just something to keep in mind as we continue to track that. Okay, where were we next? Where were we going next? One of the things that we have been looking at very, very closely are the podcast charts. One of the things that I think the left, as Pete Hegseth enters, what a violent one of the things I think the left needs to keep pushing on is we are growing quickly on YouTube, but audio podcasts are where the right is really dominating. Even though Midas touches at the top, it's mostly right-wing shows. So we've been pushing, even if you watch on YouTube, no matter what you do, subscribe to the podcast on Apple and on Spotify. We've got links in the description. We are now the 50th biggest news podcast, period. We were 120 last week. We have never been in the top 100. We are now 50. Today, we passed Mark Levin. We recently passed a whole bunch of other people who I can't even find here. Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, depraved program, completely depraved. Sean Hannity's show, we surpassed Hannity. Louder with Crowder. Rubin Report is in the toilet, okay? So we are now all the way up to 50. I'll be honest. I don't care if you never listen to the audio podcast because you watch on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, whatever. For no money, you can help us try to beat back some of these clowns. We're one spot behind Michael Knowles. Let's get beyond this nonsense. Further up is Matt Walsh, disgusting. Ted Cruz, who should be busy being a senator. So anyway, we're getting within striking distance of a lot of these bigger shows. And I look forward to reporting to you that we have achieved even more than we ever imagined that we would be able to. Other super chats coming in. Let's see here. I don't want to miss any. Okay. Replacing Destiny as a liberal cross-pollinator. Well, I'm going to pollinate. I'm glad to pollinate. I will soon be appearing on the Ryan Holiday podcast. I will be on the Atheist Experience with Matt Dillahunty. Those are in person. I will be traveling down to Texas. I'm going to be on the Mark Thompson show, Tom Hartman's program, Midas Touch. I'm going to be on with Brian Tyler Cohen. Brian Cohen's having me on. Brian Tyler is going to be on. I'm going to do an appearance on Tyler Cohen's show. All those shows I'm going to be doing. Did I mention Young Turks? We're going to be pollinating left and right. Let me put it that way. That's the point, okay? John says yes for Dean Withers, good young debater. Absolutely. Jack says, ask Trump what he would do is Putin throws a nuke. Dimbulb says, make up for the tariffs with a 25% discount for CA. First donor of any kind. Donation of any kind. Love the work, David. I'm terrified of where this nation is headed and want to fight back. You're doing incredible work. Thank you. I appreciate that. David, can you have a live egg price ticker during Trump's speech, just like the stock ticker for his tariff announcements? That's a nice idea. I wish I'd thought of it already. Storm Chaser wants to talk about the disturbing Doge cuts to NOAA and the National Weather Service. Very important topic. We will discuss soon on the show. David, do you think Democrats should have an answer to Project 2025 by having their own Project 2029? Look at Newt Gingrich. Dear God. Yeah, Democrats need a coherent plan. I don't know if it needs to be called Project 2029, though. Sager says, as a Canadian Australian, I'm terrified about what's going on. Love America. Hope Americans wake up and take a stand against Trump. I hope so, too. DB says, why is it on Canada or Mexico to strengthen our borders? Why don't we strengthen our own borders with our own people? It's our job to keep it out, not theirs. I hear that Trump is going back on his tariffs. I didn't hear, it changes every 20 minutes. So I don't know. Let me see here. Lutnick signals white flag coming on tariffs. That may be. Catherine says, I love what Jamie Raskin said. They say what about the price of eggs? Well, what about the price of eggs Benedict treason? Right. Please use Trump's Russian agent name Krasnov to refer to him from now on. It'll make the KGB connection more clear. Nice. I like that. All right. We're caught up there as far as that goes. I also want to say a little something because our membership tracker is looking a little sad. I want to say thanks to Jason Sickmeyer and Ruslan Gordiev, who are the first two people to sign up for a membership today. Listen, I've said it before. Progressive independent media is under attack. I don't care if it's this show or another one that you support, but understand that we do need your support at this time. If you want to get a membership on my website, joinpacman.com, please do so with the coupon code It Will End Soon. It's sort of a cautiously optimistic missive about the state of affairs. It Will End Soon will save you like 50%, and I will say your name and everybody will love it. Also over on Twitch, I wanted to say thank you to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people who have grabbed Twitch memberships. We'll count them. We've got a goal of 100 tonight, and we are well on our way. Let's continue to see some of the other super chats that are coming in. Did you hear the Supreme Court is going to use the firing squad for execution? First time in 15 years. Can that be true? Oh, South Carolina, the Supreme, John Roberts will be executing someone. South Carolina firing squad. Yes, I did hear that. That may be a good bonus show story. Do you think Trump will finally unite us as a country in this speech? Yes, Mario. In this speech, Trump will unite us as a country and finally release that health care plan. That's all happening tonight. Maybe cross-cultivate would be better, like how Destiny talked with conservatives. I'll talk to some conservatives, sure. I mean, if they want me. Lust came from the 50501 protest in Orlando Worth. David, sir, loving the glasses. Thanks for the coverage of this soon-to-be disaster of a speech. I am worried this may be the most abortive speech of Donald Trump's career. There's just a lot pointing to it's going to be really, really, really unhinged. At least we can watch it together. Thaddeus says, you, Brian Tyler Cohen, Luke Beasley, Adam Mockler, and Midas Touch are the best left-leaning voices on YouTube. Thanks for what you do. Any other recommendations? No, one of the things that I do want to just briefly mention is there was a period of time where I felt like the online left was not super strong, and we were lacking bigger YouTube channels. We were lacking a bench, right? There was a point at which you had the Young Turks at a couple million subscribers. I had 1 million. Brian Tyler Cohen was just starting out. Midas Touch hadn't even started yet, and it was a grimmer situation for what I consider kind of like the sane left sort of, like we understand coalitions, we understand the way the system works, etc. I think we are in an awesome position right now. Awesome position where I see people saying Pod Save America. Pod Save America is a pretty big company at this point. So it's not that Pod Save America is not great, but they're big, right? I mean, you look at the number of shows, the number of employees, they're kind of in a different category. In a sense, TYT also is right now. But anyway, the point is, we've now got between the Young Turks, Midas, Brian, and I, we're talking about more than 15 million YouTube subscribers and 30 million followers across all platforms. That's just like the 4 of us. And then you've got this next generation, some of whom I have to say, I don't say this as bragging. I say this as I'm so proud that I was able to help Luke Beasley get going with his segments at Trump rallies a couple years ago. Adam Mockler did one of his first ones with us. Dean Withers and Parker and Harry Sisson and Carlos Espina. And we've got all of these people now that are they're not really the next generation. They're too old to be my kids, but they're too young to be my siblings, right? Let's put it that way. Way too young. Okay. I think that it's really a very, very strong situation right now. And by the way, we are about to become, depending on how you sort of like categorize it, we are about to be the second solo hosted left-wing YouTube channel with 3 million subscribers. The other's Brian Tyler Cohen. And one of only 4, period, on the left that have 3 million subscribers. It's TYT, Midas, Brian, and then it's us. And we're 45,000 away, 44,900 away. Okay, so we're like 5 days away. I think this, if I were giving a State of the Union of sorts, a state of the progressive media ecosystem today, I would say that it is extraordinarily strong right now. Okay, so that all came from one super chat, but there's a lot there. So I'm glad we were able to say much of it. Big thank you to Devin Calloway and Tara Dibble, who just grabbed memberships on my website. Yours numbers 10 and 11. Other super chats coming in. Let's take a look. where we have here. Okay. When's the next member town hall? Nothing scheduled right now. Book promotion starts very soon, so that'll be like most of my time, but we'll get one done soon. John, best date nights in Northampton and East Hampton, Massachusetts, the old stomping grounds. You know, that's not really apropos. It's apropos of nothing to bring that up right now. So let me think about that a little bit. Is that him? Speaking of Bush, it's a sad state today that he used to be considered the dumbest of the Republicans. I know. How things have changed. Newt looking like his namesake reptile. Very much so. I recently became terminal. I'm so sorry to hear that. Part of the SSDI application requires a phone call. For months, I've been on hold for 3+ hours not getting through. This was before Doge. I have a pit in my stomach about qualifying. I'm so sorry to hear that, Rosa. And I did a story today. I am terrified that a lot of things that people depend on to live are going to be far more difficult to access. And what can we do? We've got to vote them out. I mean, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Bobby, y'all had Philip Franco, no? Philip DeFranco was on a live stream once with me, but I'm not sure I know what you mean. CJ says, Canadian here, Trump cozying up to Putin while taking measures to devastate our economies is scaring me. History has shown what happens when economies are at their breaking points. What is he doing? Doesn't seem to have a damn clue. Doesn't seem to have a clue. Canadian here. As a Canadian, sorry, wrong Canadian message. As a Canadian, I'm curious, what is the vibe of the average non-MAGA Trump voters? Is there lots of regrets around the water cooler? You know, if I had a real job, I could tell you. But from the people I've spoken to, there was initially a despondency that's being replaced with anger and urgency. And I would rather anger and urgency than despondency. I think it's more productive. Did you say you're going to be on TYT? Help them to be real progressives. The MAGA appeasement is ridiculous. I will do everything I can. Foamy Slobbers says, old timer hoping this will be more amusing than heartbreaking. That's the hope. But will it? Okay, this is a duplicate. David, speaking of Dean and Parker, have you been contacted from Jubilee about doing a 20v1? Would love to see how you fare in that arena form. So listen, I have. We haven't yet figured out the right topic for me with the Jubilee thing, but the thing you could help with to make it happen sooner, because my manager was saying he would love for me to tape a Jubilee in April, next month. In order to make that happen, we've got to get a topic selected. If you guys contact Jubilee and say, please have David Pakman do a 25v1, my guess is it would almost certainly happen because we've already chatted a little, kind of looking for the right topic, the right timeline. I think we have the power to make that happen. Big thank you to Severa, Mrs. Ransom, and 10 bets a week for the Twitch Prime subscriptions. Welcome. So great to see you. Also, thanks to Paula Shaler and Jennifer Chen. Paula and Jennifer, welcome. Thanks for signing up on my website. You are new members, numbers 15 and 16 today, as we are closing in on the Trump non-State of the Union, State of the Union. Let's do like one voicemail or two. We have 11,000 unlistened to voicemails. Let's see if we can just listen to a couple or
Hey,
two.
David. Hope you're doing well. Excited to watch the speech. We're curious what shows are you going to be going on when you're down in good old Texas?
I am going to be on Ryan Holiday's podcast. I am going to be on The Atheist Experience. And there's another big one. It's not Rogan. Rogan ghosted me. But there's another big podcast that films in that area that it's not confirmed yet. So I don't want to announce it, but I think it'll be very titillating, very titillating to a lot of people in the audience. Let's see if we can get to one or another one here. Some of these are completely whacked. I'm actually terrified by some of these. Ay. Let's check this one out.
David, my name is Stick Bogart. AI on Twitter, X, gave me your contact info.
Okay. I'm going to get away from that. Let's actually get away from these altogether. Okay. In comes Steve Scalise. Let's not do voicemails. I think they're kind of bringing the stream to a halt and upsetting a lot of people because they're so weaponized. So let's even just not even deal with that. Okay. Other super chats coming in. Cred to the Pacman team who brings this all together for us. You guys rock. Thank you, Rich. Appreciate that. Appreciate it very much. I missed a bunch of these here. Hold on. Mangoes, asks Ramsey. Right. Do I think Rachel Maddow should leave MSNBC? If she wants. I have no idea what she's up to. I really don't follow what's going on there. David, just wondering, you will have mods in your chat for premieres of daily shows. You have so many bots who spam and Russian propagandists there. We need to look into that. That doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good. What new shit policies will Trump announce tonight? That's a very important question. And I don't know. I don't know. Chris says, thoughts on Elon backing down to Jon Stewart. I didn't see what happened. Jessica asks, what do you think the value was in having Russian state media present in the Oval Office press conference? The value. I don't know that it's about value. It's Trump doesn't seem to have any problem with it. That's really the situation. Ragnar says, hi from Norway. Love your show. Sorry for what's going on in your country. Have you noticed Trump often speaks of himself as we, like royalty in Europe? Yeah. Trump uses the royal we. It's bizarre. But he does it all the time. He's like, no, we did very well in Ohio. Like when he says that, he could mean like him and JD, but it's actually a bad example. There's other examples that I think are better. Yeah, Trump regularly uses the royal we. Bobby says 25v1, Holocaust deniers versus David Pacman. Yeah, I'm not a Holocaust scholar, so I'm the wrong person for that. We had this other idea, David Pacman versus 25 conspiracy theorists. But then I now have to become an expert on 25 different conspiracy theories. So we've got to find the right one. I don't want to just show up and do something low quality, So we will, we're going to see about getting the Jubilee thing going soon. David, you should make a video explaining that Trump is purposely causing a depression so his robber baron buddies can sweep in while everything's cheap and privatize absolutely everything. That's a great perspective. In fact, I am going to send myself a note about that. Let me just copy this. Because that's actually a pretty good perspective. I think that would make a good story. On the left of the screen, you now see that Donald Trump is preparing to leave the White House to head over to the Capitol. So the speech is going to be soon. I'm a Secular Talk fan, as well as yours for 5 years. I appreciate his takedown of class warfare. Is there a reason you don't touch on that often? Class warfare. It's not really my vocabulary. I talk about class and economics every day. I just don't use that phrase. It's never, I just don't know. It's not a phrase that comes naturally to me as a useful tool. What has the price of mangoes done under the Trump regime? That I don't know. We need a mango price tracker. Hold on, I'm missing a bunch here. David, what do you think the real motives are behind the tariffs? It could be Trump looking tough. It could be Trump trying to tank things so then his friends swoop in, buy stuff cheap, and then Trump cancels them and they recover and they make a ton of money. Could be stupidity. Could be ignorance. Osun says, what are they chatting about on Truth Social? No idea. Abby says, David, I've watched your show since 2016. You continue to be my favorite person to get news from. I hope everyone in the chat can try to donate. So important to support independent progressive media. And remember, YouTube takes 30% of these super chats. When you sign up on my website, it's just 2.9% to swipe credit cards, and that's it. Okay, so just bear that in mind. And I do want to say thank you to Brandon Hake, Latoya James Ott, and Chris Duffy, new members 17, 18, and 19 today. Thank you all. And of course, that coupon code, It Will End Soon, is functioning very well. We are about to see Donald Trump leave the White House and head over to the Capitol for tonight's speech. Paul says, any plans to work with Kyle Kulinski? You two would go well together. We've done stuff together. I would do more stuff with Kyle, sure. Who is Brain with the many subscribers? I think you're talking, Ashley, about Brian Tyler Cohen. Shout out to my alleged friend Kevin from Atlanta, says Andrew. He's a donut, but he subbed to you recently, and I know he's watching. All right. Sounds like a lot's going on there. Tim says, David, I was nearly a victim of the Lewiston shooting. Biden came to our state within the week to mourn with us. Trump never showed, just tweeted. This decision convinced my vote for Kamala as a registered Republican. Quite a story, Tim. Thank you. Pac-Man versus 20 Boston sandwich haters. That's an idea. David, sir, with tears in my eyes, I ask, why won't you answer my emails? Just kidding. Looking forward to your comments tonight. Thank you. I appreciate that. And the speech will start soon. Bobby says, why don't you go live more on YouTube? Just no time, honestly. I'm so busy between the show, the book, which comes out in 3 weeks, and my daughter, that it's hard to find time to stream more regularly. But I would love to. Julia says the USA has become a rogue state and the EU should organize to not rely on on USA for anything. Until then, what will happen to the EU? Yeah, I mean, listen, I was just in Europe in a number of different European elements. Everybody seems to be going about their lives ignoring Trump and not taking Trump seriously for the most part. So I know everybody loves to talk about Europe is failing. Things seem pretty good. Things seemed pretty good over there. David, I wanted to say thank you for helping me leave the Trump cult. Look at that. I stumbled across your videos in early 2023 and have been hooked since. Well, thank you, Aaron. Great to see you. 25v1, liberal towns versus rural towns. Oh, God. Was that Elon that just left? Oh, my God. I think it was. Is Elon riding in the limo with Scrumps? Just despicable. Just despicable. Did you see Rachel Maddow's special where she digs into Trump's ties to Russia? No, I haven't. I do not watch MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, other than like the specific clips I need for the show. There is the Mango Menace, the Tangerine Terror, the Amber Abomination, and his wife Melania, whose parents, who is here on an Einstein visa originally, and whose parents benefited from chain migration. They are going to be heading over to the Capitol. It's a very short ride, and they will be arriving shortly for tonight's speech. Wisconsin Supreme Court election is coming up. Elon is pouring money into Brad Schimmel's campaign. Vote Crawford if you're in Wisconsin. I'm semi-convinced that Putin and Russians are looking forward to a return on their financial investment in right-wing's politics and Donald Trump. They very well may be. David, when do you think Republicans in Congress say enough is enough and stop agreeing with everything the orange turd says? Not until after 2026. I hate to break it to you. I don't imagine it will happen before then. Congratulations on the book, David. I'm looking forward to reading it. Curious if writing it was easier or harder than you anticipated. Either way, great achievement. It was exactly as difficult as I expected. I had a sort of pretty accurate sense of what it would be like, partially because, writing the proposal, which included a chapter, gave me a good preview of how difficult it would be. I guess I'll briefly just say a word. My first nonfiction book, The Echo Machine, comes out 3 weeks from today. You can get signed copies exclusively through Brookline Booksmith at davidpakman.com/booksmith. Of course, you can get the audiobook, you can get the Kindle book, you can get it everywhere. And any local bookstore will allow you to order it, and they'll have it for you basically right on the release date, March 25th. Also, if you're just joining us, we are making a push to defeat some of these disgusting right-wing shows in the podcast charts. Right now, we are one spot behind the Michael Knowles show, that disgusting, vile show. If you subscribe on Apple Podcasts and leave a review, you don't have to listen there, okay? Just subscribe and leave a review. Let your podcast catcher download the files. Never listen to them if you don't want. We can pass Michael Knowles and hopefully continue up. 5 days ago, we were 120th in the charts. We are now 50, and right behind Michael Knowles. You can also do the exact same thing and subscribe on Spotify. It just helps us. It just helps us. That's all it is. Any early predictions for the 2026 midterms? No, I am making no predictions at this point. I try to avoid it this early. Neil says, from the UK, we have always regarded the US as an ally and a country we could rely upon. We don't support Trump, Musk, and the damage they are imposing upon the USA and its erstwhile friends in the civilized world. I understand completely. I was just in the UK. Everybody that came up to me to chat who watched the show said, we love our American friends, but we simply don't support who is in charge right now. Met some great people, actually, in the UK, fans of the show. You said Candace doesn't seem genuine. Can you elaborate? Yeah, just based on what I know about Candace Owens' upbringing and having studied her career a little bit, I think she doesn't believe a lot of the crap she says, or at least she didn't at the beginning. Maybe she's now convinced herself of some of it, but at the beginning, I don't think she believed a lot of what she said, and it was all a character designed to get clicks and views. Do you plan on interviewing Abigail Spanberger for her governor run in Virginia? Nothing scheduled yet, but potentially. Here is the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, entering the chamber. He seems to be speaking to Tim Scott. This is Senator Tom Cotton standing behind him. Not recognizing, I guess this must be Rick Scott here, the bald head here facing away, kind of Skeletor type guy. Yeah, okay, so we're continuing to stand by here. Could you post clips used in the show somewhere? We post, just the standalone clips. We really can't. It's kind of, we're doing so much already. That's kind of outside of what we're able to do right now. Thanks for everything you do, says Olivia. Your conscientious and intelligent commentary will always be needed. I have purchased your book. Thank you, Olivia. I appreciate that. 25v1, Trumponomics winning or losing. If Trump had a sudden health issue and was no longer president, what would a J.P. Mandel administration look like? That is something so horrifying. I don't want to talk about it right now. As you see here, we see Ted Cruz over on the left of the screen. We see our friend. He's a fan of the show. Oh, it just went off him. Cory Booker, Senator Cory Booker. If I had to say who are the biggest supporters of this show in the U.S. Senate, I would say it's Cory Booker and Adam Schiff. I think that that's honest. Cheese's Garden says, do you think Trump withholding Ukraine aid is him being petty since Zelensky wouldn't investigate Hunter Biden? No, I don't think that's what it's about. I don't. David, how do you think military contractors feel about Ukraine's aid being paused? Don't they have significant influence on Republicans? Apparently not, and or they know it's temporary. What you are witnessing right now is the senators making the trip across the Capitol from the Senate, whose capacity is far smaller, over to the House of Representatives, which is where tonight's speech will take place. The House of Representatives has room for everybody, as well as a large mezzanine. Some of our friends are in the mezzanine tonight. Maybe we will see them on screen a little bit later. But now this is a sort of tradition, relatively meaningful tradition, that the senators gather in the Senate and then head on over to the House of Representatives, meaning that very, very soon the speech will start. I want to say a huge thank you to some new members: Holly Flynn, Sue Welch, Jordan Cumler, M. Lyon, Michael Doherty, Stanley Minerick, Miles Smith, and Royus Burlin just all signed up on my website, which pushes us here up to 29. Really appreciate all of you. Also, thanks to Captain Smiles for giving away 5 subscriptions over on Twitch. Okay. Did I have anything else that there were a couple things I wanted to look at, but let's watch. These are some sort of interesting moments. Here is the Vice President, J.D. Vance, flanked by all sorts of different people, making his way over to the House of Representatives. Let's see who else we can see here. I see J.P. Mandel, basically. This is John. Is this John Barrasso? I forget who that senator is. I think it's John Barrasso. Let's see. There's Tom Cotton. Okay, so off they go. Very, very powerful imagery. BM says democracy is fragile. It is time to raise the minimum voting age and require certain knowledge to vote and limit politicians to only one elected office in their lifetime. Interesting ideas. You'd need to change the Constitution, which is going to be tough to do. Bobby says I should do a 6-part series exposing Candace Owens. Here is our friend Adam. Uh-oh, my chair's fall. A piece just fell off my chair. Oh no. Imagine if the chair collapsed during the stream. There is our friend Adam Schiff, who was just on the show. Legitimately, he's a supporter and a fan of the show. And I think that's great. There is Ed Markey, Senator Markey from Massachusetts, Tim Kaine entering. Was that Jeff Bezos? No, I'm kidding. A lot of people that we do and don't recognize here. Senator Susan Collins of Maine there walking by. We see here, man, I don't recognize most of these people. It's pretty wild. These are maybe just staffers. Things are getting a little nasty over on Twitch. That's too bad. Thanks to Nasty Questions, by the way, for the Twitch Prime subscription. And also welcome to Kevin and Rose Ward, as well as Sheena Neal, new members 36 and 37 today. Let's see. We must be moments away from Donald Trump arriving at the Capitol. I assume that we are going to see that very, very soon. Let me just refresh here. I think this one may be a little bit delayed. Something about this. Oh, no, this is live. Okay. All right. So now they are entering the House of Representatives. Here is Chuck Schumer here on the left. What the heck? Some wacky stuff. Here is Vice President J.D. Vance entering the chamber. I think this is John Barrasso behind him. Here's Amy Klobuchar, who was just on the show. She was very, very nice and supportive of independent media. Senator Tom Cotton over here on the left behind her. And you see things starting to fill up. I believe, is this Joni Ernst right here? No, that's not Joni Ernst. Who is that? I don't know who that is. Is that Congresswoman Clark, maybe? Okay, other super chats. Who gets to ask about the Tate brothers? Just yesterday he saved them. Now they're being served subpoenas and warrants. Were their passports revoked? I didn't know that. Let's see. Andrew Tate. Oh, wow. They're under criminal investigation now in Florida. Wow. Was the whole thing a ruse to get them into the United States? That would be wild. I don't know what's going on with Tate, but it doesn't seem good. Here is weaponized Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Truly a horrible, horrible person. Just absolutely horrible. Terrible. Trump is Christian. Whoops. Hold on. Trump is Christian because being one gives him manipulative power over the religious. Probably true. Bubu in Spanish. Gracias, David, por apoyar a los inmigrantes. Ídolo. I appreciate that. Sir, you said Trump couldn't pull off a Reichstag event. Do you think there's things that the post-truth conspiracy propaganda machine can't spin? I think there are some things beyond the spin of the post-truth machine. Yes. Not a lot, but some. Riley says, big fan, David. Thanks for what you do. Are you a big gamer? I'm an indie developer. Would love to send you a copy of my studio's new puzzle game. I am not a big gamer, but I would gladly check out your puzzle game. Email info@davidpakman.com. Let me know about it. Anyone got a bingo card for me? I didn't do a bingo card this time. I thought about it and then decided, nah, I'm not going to do it. But feel free to play. CJ gifted 5 subscriptions via YouTube. I appreciate that. Huge thanks to Laura Curry, M. Lyon, Parker Gabriel, Wendy Hall, Kenneth Allen, and Trevor Prophet. Appreciate all of you signing up on my website. What do I think of the Hassan ban from Twitch? I heard he was banned. Is it just for a day? With Hassan just banned for a day? I know he said someone's life should be cut short. He's already back. Yeah. I mean, it seemed like it didn't have any teeth. I don't know. My assumption was when you get banned for a day, Twitch feels they have to do something, but because you're a big streamer, they don't want to do that much because they make a lot of money off of you. Kaylee says, hi from Boston, love the show. Is Trump's tweet about jailing protesters is asking for us to protest and then declare martial law? Concerned. Yeah, I would be concerned, Kaylee. I would be concerned. We're probably going to talk about that tomorrow on the show. Let's see what else we've got. Dems need to yell liar every time Schlump lies. The SNL turkey leg story was great. Love the show. Thank you. Do you think we would be able to get rid of the Electoral College in our lifetime? Depends how old you are. But I just don't know. I don't know that there's the appetite for it. Do you still associate with Destiny? Well, I've never been associated. I haven't spoken to him for like 9 months. But, you know, I know that he's in some drama, which I don't totally even understand. How are we ever going to wrestle the country back? Well, we start in 2026. David, will you ever consider writing fiction? You know, probably not. I love reading fiction. It's occurred to me to write fiction. And then I realized, you know what? I don't have to do anything, everything. I can do the show and I can write a nonfiction book. Let other people write fiction. I don't have to do everything. Let me just do some things. What's with all the pink? Asks Trisha. I don't know what Trisha's talking about. Is Trisha talking about my sweatshirt? Or was there pink in the audience or something? I don't know. David, thanks for what you do. Excited for the book. Thank you. Look into Russian hybrid warfare on Scandinavia. Okay. DeSantis was very disturbed by the Taint brothers' arrival in Florida. Maybe that's why they're under investigation. Maybe so. Maybe so. Who's weirder, Pence or Vance? I think Pence is weirder, but not by a lot. Not by a lot. Weirder, yes. By a lot, no. Welcome to Morgan Davis and Storm Petsulo, newest members, putting us at 50. We are blowing out memberships today with the coupon code It Will End Soon. Progressive media is under attack and needs your support. And as I've said before, it doesn't have to be this damn show. If you don't like my glasses, or you don't like the background, or you don't like my opinions, or you don't like the blue graphics, if you don't like, as some people say, that my eyes are too close together, you don't have to support this show. But whatever show you do think is doing a good job, I would encourage you to support it. If you want to support this one, this is a great moment to grab a membership at joinpacman.com. And you can use the coupon code right above my head. It Will End Soon, to save bigly, 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 bigly. Oh, a lot of pink in the crowd. I think there's a group of women who said they're going to wear pink tonight. I remember hearing that somewhere. And I'm not sure if it's for reproductive rights or what it is, but maybe we will find out more about it. David, do you think we'll have real elections in 26 or 28? I do. Call me naive. Call me clueless. Call me ignorant. Call me moronic. Call me short-sighted. Call me a socialist, which I'm not. Call me a communist, which I'm not. But I do think there will be real elections in 2026 and 2028. Is that crazy? Is that crazy to believe? Is that crazy to expect? I don't know. I don't know. Let's take a little bit of a listen to the sights and sounds in this chamber. All right. Sort of a soothing white noise. I think I'll kind of leave it on but low. Is this a good mix right here? If I talk at this level, is the background noise too loud if I leave it like it is right now? Is it? Can anybody tell me, is it okay? It's good. Perfect. Okay, we'll leave it like this, just so we feel like we're, there to some degree. BDMF says, big balls here. I discovered $10 of government waste and will pay it forward to your channel. Don't tell Elon, thank you. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. My plan for tonight is that right after the speech ends, I am going to record an instant reaction and analysis of the speech, and we will publish it. So I'll give kind of like my contemporaneous reaction as we watch it, but then what I'm going to do is we will end the stream. I will sit here and take a couple of deep diaphragmatic breaths and sort of process everything. And then we will shift into recording mode rather than live streaming mode. And I will immediately record a video about the speech, and we will put it up on YouTube, and then it'll be a big part of the show tomorrow. So a lot still to come here. Do I have snacks? I do. I've got here a bowl of, it's pistachios. Some people call these pistachio nut meats, which sounds almost pornographic. It's just the interior of the pistachio. It's like a de-shelled pistachio. And then raisins, both the golden and the regular kind. Nice little snack. Let's see. Very nice. Very, very nice. Excellent. So all of that is happening right now, and we are going to see about continuing significantly further. Okay. We are getting very close to the start of this. Actually, I should swallow, because it sounds weird when I am talking while chewing. There we go. Elon is here. I don't know who he's talking to. It's very weird. Very, very weird. Elon suddenly found a suit. Good for him, huh? Other super chats coming in. Let me see if I missed any. Cyrus says, David, thanks for all you do. It's more important for Democrats to show up, get out, and make our voices heard. I agree. You, Destiny, and Vaush are the best of good ideas. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. David, thoughts on poultry meat?
Okay, we're seeing some members of the Trump family who have also gathered there in the balcony above the U.S. House floor to await the president's remarks.
Okay.
Also, a few moments ago, we caught a glimpse of Elon Musk, who is indeed there in the House chamber. I believe he was perhaps sitting on the stairs somewhere in the balcony. I don't see him in this shot, but perhaps we will see him again in a moment. Again, not an official member of the government at this point, but clearly playing an integral role in the Trump administration's first couple of weeks through his efforts with DOJ and making cuts across the federal government.
That's a hell of an understatement. Okay.
And we should really note that.
Okay, I'll mute it now just so we can kind of keep talking and chatting here. Other super chats coming in. What are the odds of Elon growing a pair and taking up Jon Stewart's offer of an unedited interview? Low, right? Yes, very low. Very, very low. Are we going to listen to the rebuttal by Democrats? I'm not, because it's going to start to get very late on the East Coast. So after this speech, I will go offline and record a reaction to the speech, which we will publish. Andrew says, no ridiculous shout out this time. Just want to show more love. Keep up the good work, Pacman. Thank you, Andrew. Mick says, what kind of vodka are you drinking in that glass? It should be, but it is just water. Big water. That's all I've got for you. Who do we have here? Don Jr. in the upper left. Kash Patel, looking conspiratorial as always. I believe this lower left person is Tiffany Trump, right? Haven't seen her around for a while. Did I see the NRCC saying no to having town halls? I did not. Huge fan, David. I work in a male-dominated blue-collar industry. I've used your videos to help confuse a lot of Republican friends and employees into questioning their beliefs and doing a deep dive. I appreciate that, Michelle. Thank you. Stay Blessed says, I have never voted. I think both sides are on the same team. Thoughts on the two-party system ever being abolished? I would love to abolish the two-party system. Two things need to happen. Number one, we got to get rid of first past the post. And number two, I would love to see proportional representation. I would love to see both of those things. Whoa, we just got a huge dump of memberships. I can't even shout everybody out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 folks just signed up on my website. Thank you to all of you. I really appreciate that, including Bruce Warren and Dalton Beasley, John Crawford, Tara Holtzclaw, Lucy Giroux, Craig Wake, Sydney Weiss, and Holly Fawcett, Jana Burley, Kimberly Hamilton. You know, it's shocking. Our YouTube audience is 70% male. But when we do a live stream, 80% of the new members are women. What does that tell you? I don't know. But presumably, maybe women like the live streams better. I don't know. I guess it's something pretty simple and straightforward. Let's see here. Mario is sending bouquets. You are so handsome, square-jawed, and smart. Is square-jawed a compliment? Thank you, Mario. Olivia says female Democratic Congress members are wearing pink to protest Trump's policies, which are negatively impacting women and their families. Understood, Olivia. That makes a lot of sense. David, what bands are you listening to? Nothing. I wish I had more time to listen to music. I'm listening to nothing. Zachary says, I sent you an email about how coincidentally I was playing around with OpenAI. When I asked it to show me a list of programs and departments cut to save money, it was identical to the Doge list. Interesting. Stolzer says, thanks for doing this, David. Speech is going to be horrible. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, here we go. People are starting to enter. Who is it? I think the C-SPAN feed is better.
Speaker, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps.
Yikes. Okay, it was only the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps. So, yeah. Wait a second. Who is that right now? President Hersey Kyoda. That was really weird. Okay. We are, let's see here. Yeah, we're just moments away, so we'll just keep it here. Welcome to everybody. Come on in. Great to see you. NRCC guy preventing the...
Entering the chamber and beginning his speech. Jasmine Wright, Jason Dick, we've been watching this, chatting amongst our...
Yes. Very soon, this is all going to start. You should at least try to listen to Tame Impala. All right. Can you list all of the vowels in your forthcoming book? I guess they would be A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. The thing about the book is that it's extremely stiff. If I go like this and try to bend it, it's difficult to do it. So from a structural standpoint, this is a really strong book. And inside, it's mostly letters, words, and paragraphs. And there's one picture in the back. So as far as that goes, it's like a standard book in many ways. Here are the Supreme Court justices. One of the most disgusting right-wing Supreme Courts ever, I would argue. Cairo Boy says, how likely do you think it'll be that Gaza protesters will interrupt Trump like they did Biden? I would assume probably not. Zachary says, I've been trying to find out news about polling and the chances Democrats have in the special elections. Are you planning to do an episode on those? Yes, I am. Very, very much so. I want to say thank you. Look at this. Judith Lewis, Josen Duff Griffith, Mandy Rivers, Luis Luna, Trisha Gurrell, Chris Egner, Jamie Bartley, and Lisa Bayer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new members. I am flattered by the support that we are getting. And just remember that at no cost, help us surpass the Michael Knowles podcast in the charts. We are the 50th most listened to audio podcast right now. Michael Knowles is 49. Michael Knowles is disgusting, okay? Subscribe to the Apple Podcast and Spotify podcast. It's free. The links are in the description on YouTube. It will pump up our rating, and leave a review if you can, so that we can beat back these horrible right-wing shows. Horrible, horrible right-wing shows. Any comment on the recent SNL cold open? Didn't see it. I'm asleep before SNL starts, and I just didn't see it. I'm having time to watch very little stuff. Rezo High says, loved your book. I read it with dinner. I appreciate that. The book's not out yet, but it's very, very interesting. It's got a little audio here.
You don't see this necessarily as a protest by two of...
Okay, so they're still chatting, so we will wait a little bit. There's John Roberts and Elena Kagan, two Supreme Court justices, extraordinarily powerful people, particularly in this political environment where many of the things Trump is doing could end up in front of the Supreme Court. Tim says that my audio is choppy. I don't even know what that means. Is the audio choppy for anybody? Anybody? Is the audio choppy? The audio is cutting in and out. That must be a YouTube thing. Just refresh the stream. Okay, yeah, audio's fine. Good. It's totally fine. Okay, good. The speech is starting any moment. It's 9 p.m. Trump will be arriving essentially now, I would expect. And we are, in a moment, going to be underway. Prices down on day one didn't happen. Gulf of America did happen. Yes, that's true. All right, guys, move over. Trump supporter coming through with his folding chair to watch this with you guys. Who's got the popcorn? All right, well, welcome, Timothy. Everybody's welcome. David, your audio is cutting in and out, says Beth. Weird. It must be a YouTube thing because everybody on Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter says it's fine. The main reason I don't watch the live show is due to my work hours. I generally only listen on my commute. I'm also a Luke Beasley fan. There is no live show. Dalton, I don't know what you mean. The show is recorded and then published. There is no live show. All Democrats should be outside boycotting that. Some are. I'm active military, saw internal memos about trying to isolate censorship on YouTube for DoD network. They want to ideally ban certain content from being accessed on YouTube. That's exactly the sort of thing I'm talking about. Worth watching the SNL skit. Elon did say we have to legalize comedy. The Uniparty seems to march toward 1984, says Bobby's Gems. Many people writing to me lately about the Uniparty. And that's another topic I think that would be worth addressing very soon. Audio is excellent, everybody is saying. Good. I'm glad the audio is excellent. I want to welcome a few really special people who just signed up on my website. Izzy Packcord, Natalie Santillan, Bay Valaket, Stanley Minerick, and Todd Grenier. Really appreciate you. As well as Cesar Hernandez, putting us at 86. We have a damn good shot tonight of getting to that goal of 100. And we are just moments away from the start of this speech. One of the most vile forces in American politics today is this woman, Marjorie Taylor Greene. It is an atrocity that she is even able to achieve the position of elected official. She has. And now she is a member of Congress, and it's horrifying and disgusting. But you got to vote her out. That's the only way. Thanks to Key for gifting 5 YouTube memberships. Really appreciate that. And do Twitch subscriptions count to 3 million? No, they don't. This is where we are in the fight for 3 million YouTube subscribers. Twitch has nothing to do with it. Look at this. It's like a slot machine. Twitch has nothing to do with it. It is all YouTube, and we are getting really, really close to what some said a long time ago couldn't be done. And only 3 others on the left have done it, but we're going to do it. And we'll do it very quickly. Here is Melania Trump, the First Lady, entering the chamber where she will watch her husband's speech, so to speak. Sam sends love from British Columbia. Crystal says, thanks for the coverage. Appreciate that very much. Here is Melania getting quite an ovation.
Gave us her guests earlier. They include some
You know, the clapping reminds me of a moment from the great cult classic Office Space. What exactly would you say you do here?
So she's sitting with her guests there.
Lincoln Riley family is
That's
there.
right. That's right.
To answer your question, I wasn't surprised to see her. I mean, I think those were her first public remarks since Donald Trump took office. There were some questions about how much she would be in Washington, how frequent.
Was that Riley Gaines next to Matt Walsh? See, if I see Matt Walsh and Riley Gaines together at the State of the Union, I assume Trump's going to go bonkers on, quote, men and women's sports.
Cabinet.
Here is the billionaire cabinet of Donald Trump. Not all of them, but more billionaires than anywhere else. There is Marco Rubio, who just kissed Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. Marco Rubio entering the chamber. He will also be watching Donald Trump discharge his duty. You see there in the background, Pete Hegseth, maybe the least qualified Secretary of Defense in American history. Behind him, I saw Attorney General Pam Bondi, one of the most weaponized cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs attorneys general. Yeah. Secretary of Health and Human Services, yeah, it's gag-worthy. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is there. Behind him is Scott Turner. Some other people I don't necessarily recognize. I see Kristi Noem there, Secretary of Homeland Security. Lee Zeldin is there, shaking hands. He is the Secretary of the EPA. I love to see Adam Schiff there sitting with Ed Markey, two very good guys and supporters of this program. Good to see them together, completely ignoring the presence of the despicable and disgusting, dilapidated Pete Hegseth, who is now here. Super chats continue to come in, people expressing a lot of different opinions. We will have, as Trump is speaking, the super chats will function almost as live commentary. Those will remain visible the entire time. I want to say thanks to Terry Evers, Linda Heidelberger, Ramon James, James Arenas, Alexander Gross, Tess Rimmel, Elizabeth Lefferts, and Alex Borges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 91 plus 8. Let me think here. 1 plus 8 is 9, nothing to carry. You've already got a 9. 91 plus 8 is, it's 99, right? And if the goal is 100 and we are at 99, that means we are, let me figure out the percentage. 99 divided by 100. You can't put 9 into 1, so it's a dot. Then 9 to 10 goes 9, 9. It's 98%, right? Is 99 out of 100 98%? We're very close to 100. You know what's really sad? There are people who will write to me because they don't understand I'm kidding. And they will say, David, percentages out of 100 are really easy. If it's 99 out of 100, that's 99%. Oh. I got you. There is Bobby, who's going to make everybody oh so healthy. Moore says, almost too scary that Donald Trump is actively trying to excommunicate America from the rest of the world besides Russia. Is he selling America? Who is doing the Democratic response? I actually don't know. Thoughts on Uniparty's support of Israel and AIPAC? No. Ve victis, woe to the conquered, might be Trump's credo now. We already saw Crystal's message earlier. I smell Hegseth's booze cruise from here. Any chance of Republican representatives actually speaking their mind at any point, or are they too scared or too funded? The world is watching. Will the Constitution be abused or upheld? Respect, David. Thanks. The Republicans won't stand up to Trump until they have nothing left to run for, or Trump can't hurt them anymore. And we are pretty far from that. So I don't expect that to happen anytime soon. Not a surprise that Donald Trump is running late. Trump runs late to almost everything he does. And typically the president will enter the chamber at 9 and be speaking by roughly 5 after. That obviously is not happening here. And, it's just not happening. David says, David, sir, is not now the time to double down on pushback to this administration as stocks tumble and things continue to get worse. Yes, this is the time to double down on pushback. I agree with you. Agree completely. Zachary asks, I wonder if we could elect a Democratic president who was an old Republican and fill their cabinet with half Republican Democrat to get back to bipartisanship. A lot of people float this. It's too sane an idea, at least theoretically, for such an insane political period. So I don't think it's plausible at this point in time, sadly, because it's an interesting little idea. I want to say thank you to Nocturnal Zoos over on Twitch for gifting 5 subscriptions and also signing up themselves, which puts us at 105. Let's go for 200, why don't we? Cynthia says we will start living the movie Idiocracy soon. I think we're already there. I think we are very much there already. That ship has sailed. Very, very much so. Welcome to Daniel Sanchez and Timothy Swanson, new members on my website, and new members 106 and 107 today. Can deport Elon Musk already? Okay. Melchizedek, Israel or Palestine? This is so stupid. And the idea that we will learn anything, improve anything, or help anyone by framing issues in this way, just very, very silly. You're equally as funny and effective as Colbert and Stewart. Well, I appreciate that. David, sir, love the show, wondering how swing states would be impacted by Trump's terrible policies. We've done segments on it. Negatively, you might be surprised to hear. And thanks to Jules J. for the super chat as well, as we await Donald Trump. Welcome to Corey Kirk and Sally Redwenzel, pushing us to 109 today. Jimmy says, David, prices have been down since day one in the stock market. Yes, that is where Donald Trump successfully lowered prices. Thanks to Plains R Us for gifting 20 memberships on YouTube. And also thanks to Jay Geverola for signing up on my website with the coupon code It Will End Soon. I presume that we are very close to the start of this thing. But why is Trump always running late? Always running late. Just crazy, crazy stuff. Who is the designated survivor? I don't know who the designated survivor is today. Don't know who it is. We had another audio glitch. That's really weird. I don't know what that is. There's no reason the audio should be glitching, and it doesn't seem to be glitching on Twitch. So I have to assume it has something to do with YouTube. Yeah. Dems should prioritize bringing the platform center to pick up GOP voters. We'd win in a landslide. Zachary, some argue that that's what Harris did and it didn't work. Depends who you talk to. Thank you to Tim Sislow for gifting 5 subscriptions on Twitch. Quinn says, David, I'm going to leave before he speaks because I can't stomach it. I'll catch the recap tomorrow. Just here to show support. I understand, Quinn. Appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow. Andrew says, David, I want to thank you for speaking the truth in the middle of this chaos and love your sweaters. Thank you. Ben says, I am so scared for what Trump will say. Me too. How many? Oh, wait, hold on. I skipped one. Thank you for streaming, David. Do you think Democrats not attending the speech helps or adds fuel to the fire? I think it does very little, one way or the other. Very little. Welcome to Kingsley, our newest Twitch Prime subscriber. Great to see you. Craig says, how many times will Trump disparage Biden in the speech? I don't know if he will. I mean, he very well might. I just don't know if that's part of the plan. He's late because of massive dumps. Exactly. Brian Tyler Cohen is like a slightly better in every way version of you. Oh, that is brutal, James. That is absolutely brutal. Except for one thing, I can't say I'm taller than a lot of people, but here is Donald Trump. Melania looks thrilled to be there. Going to get a few other things set up here while we wait. Look at this guy. So this will continue for a little bit. Eventually, Trump will be formally introduced, and then there will be more clapping. So just prepare for the clapping. Trump speaking there to Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who he, of course, nominated to the court. And Brett Kavanaugh there as well. There you go. And Marjorie Taylor Greene looking like an absolute clown. Isn't this great?
Thank you.
Obama.
Thank you very much.
Running 20 minutes late.
It's a great honor. Thank you very much. Speaker Johnson, Vice President Vance, the First Lady of the United States.
Ay, ay, ay. Her achievements and accomplishments really deserve a standing ovation.
Members of the United States Congress, thank you very much. And to my fellow citizens, America is back.
Is Elon up in the stands jumping up and down?
Oh. 6 weeks ago, I stood beneath the dome of this Capitol and proclaimed the dawn of the golden age of America. From that moment on, it has been nothing but swift and unrelenting action to usher in the greatest and most successful era in the history of our country. We have accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or 8 years, and we are just getting started.
That suggests we're in trouble.
I return to this chamber tonight to report that America's momentum is back, our spirit is back, our pride is back, our confidence is back, and the American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before. The American dream is unstoppable, and our country is on the verge of a comeback, the likes of which the world has never witnessed and perhaps will never witness again.
Very soon.
Never been anything like it. The presidential election of November 5th was a mandate like has not been seen in many decades. We won all 7 swing states, giving us an electoral college victory of 312 votes. We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country.
What's going on?
And won counties in our country, 2,700 to 525, on a map that reads almost completely red.
It seems there's a member making a disturbance and they're about to kick him out.
Now, for the first time in modern history, more Americans believe that our country is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction. In fact, it's an astonishing record.
Wow, what a mess.
27-point swing, the most ever. Small business optimism saw its single largest one-month gain ever recorded, a 41-point jump.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
Hey guys, this is all really sad.
Members are directed to uphold and...
This doesn't look good for Democrats. I would not have done this. I completely sympathize with Congressman Green's feelings, but just getting himself kicked out in this way, I don't think it does anything.
400 executive actions, a record to restore common sense, safety, optimism, and wealth all across our wonderful land. The people elected me to do the job, and I'm doing it. In fact, it has been stated by many that the first month of our presidency, it's our presidency, is the most successful in the history of our nation. By many. And what makes it even more impressive is that, do you know who number 2 is? George Washington. How about that? How about that? I don't know about that list, but we'll take it. Within hours of taking the oath of office, I declared a national emergency on our southern border, and I deployed the U.S. military and Border Patrol to repel the invasion of our country. And what a job they've done. As a result, illegal border crossings last month were by far the lowest ever recorded, ever.
Just as a quick fact check, the numbers for February have not yet been released, and Trump has made a claim about this, which others are accepting as the news. It is not.
And they chose not to come. Much easier that way. In comparison, under Joe Biden, the worst president in American history, there were hundreds of thousands of illegal crossings a month, and virtually all of them, including murderers, drug dealers, gang members, and people from mental institutions and insane asylums, were released into our country. Who would want to do that? This is my 5th such speech to Congress. And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would wipe out entire nations, or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. Five times I've been up here. It's very sad.
What a whiner.
This way.
What a whiner.
So Democrats sitting before me, for just this one night, why not join us in celebrating so many incredible wins for America? For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again. Every day, my administration is fighting to deliver the change America needs to bring a future that America deserves, and we're doing it. This is a time for big dreams and bold action. Upon taking office, I imposed an immediate freeze on all federal hiring, a freeze on all new federal regulations, and a freeze on all foreign aid. I terminated the ridiculous Green New Scam. I withdrew from the unfair Paris Climate Accord, which was costing us trillions of dollars that other countries were not paying. I withdrew from the corrupt World Health Organization.
Quick cut to Bobby.
And I also withdrew from the anti-American UN Human Rights Council.
What a big boy.
We ended all of Biden's environmental restrictions that were making our country far less safe and totally unaffordable. And importantly, we ended the last administration's insane electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto workers and companies from economic destruction. To unshackle our economy, I have directed that for every one new regulation, 10 old regulations must be eliminated. Just
really professional adult way to do things, huh?
And in that first term, we set records on ending unnecessary rules and regulations like no other president had done before. We ordered all federal workers to return to the office. They will either show up for work in person or be removed from their job.
Does Marjorie have to chew gum?
Where, as an example, a sitting president is allowed to viciously prosecute his political opponent, like me. How did that work out? Not too good. Not too good.
Okay.
And I have stopped all government censorship and brought back free speech in America. It's back. And 2 days ago, I signed an order making English the official language of the United States of America.
Do people in my audience realize none of these are actual achievements?
The Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America.
Case in point.
And likewise, I renamed for a great president, William McKinley, Mount McKinley again. Beautiful Alaska. We love Alaska. We've ended the tyranny of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies all across the entire federal government and indeed the private sector and our military.
Once again, not a single actual accomplishment to show for himself.
Will be woke no longer. We believe that whether you are a doctor, an accountant, a lawyer, or an air traffic controller, you should be hired and promoted based on skill and competence, not race or gender. Very important. You should be hired based on merit. And the Supreme Court, in a brave and very powerful decision, has allowed us to do so. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. We have removed the poison of critical race theory from our public schools, and I signed an order making it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Still no real accomplishments.
I also signed an executive order to ban men from playing in women's sports. And we will ban men. And we will ban men. We've endorsed JP, right? J.D. Mandel. We've endorsed JP.
Ben Shapiro claps really weirdly.
All-star high school athlete, one of the best, preparing for a future in college sports. But when her girls' volleyball match was invaded by a male, he smashed the ball so hard in Peyton's face, causing traumatic brain injury, partially paralyzing her right side and ending her athletic career. It was a shot like she's never seen before. She's never seen anything like it. Peyton is here tonight in the gallery, and Peyton, from now on, schools will kick the men off the girls' team, or they will lose all federal funding.
Imagine being J.D. Vance's wife and clapping for this shit when these are just not her politics. We know that. And she's not doing a good job of pretending, I'm not going to lie.
And if you really want to see numbers, just take a look at what happened in the women's boxing, weightlifting, track and field, swimming, or cycling, where a male recently finished a long-distance race 5 hours and 14 minutes ahead of a woman for a new record by 5 hours. Broke the record by 5 hours. It's demeaning for women, and it's very bad for our country. We're not going to put up with it any longer.
Right. What a stupid timeline. Is that girl okay?
What I have just described is only a small fraction of the common sense revolution that is now, because of us, sweeping the entire world. Common sense has become a common theme, and we will never go back. Never. Never going to let that happen. Among my very highest priorities is to rescue our economy and get dramatic and immediate relief to working families. As you know, we inherited from the last administration an economic catastrophe and an inflation nightmare.
Inflation has gone up since Trump took over.
These drove up energy prices, pushed up grocery costs, and drove the necessities of life out of reach for millions and millions of Americans. They've never had anything like it. We suffered the worst inflation in 48 years, but perhaps even in the history of our country. They're not sure. As president, I'm fighting every day to reverse this damage and make America affordable again.
Kind of a low energy Trump, am I wrong?
Joe Biden especially let the price of eggs get out of control. The egg price is out of control.
They're up 33% under Trump.
Get it back down, Secretary. Do a good job on that. You inherited a total mess from the previous administration. Do a good job. A major focus of our fight to defeat inflation is rapidly reducing the cost of energy. The previous administration cut the number of new oil and gas leases by 95%, slowed pipeline construction to a halt, and closed more than 100 power plants. We are opening up many of those power plants right now. And frankly, we have
I don't know that any of this stuff is true.
nothing like it. That's why on my first day in office, I declared a national energy emergency. As you've heard me say many times, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any nation on earth, and by far. And now I fully authorize the most talented team ever assembled to go and get it. It's called Drill, Baby, Drill.
Let's go back to coal even.
My administration is also working on a gigantic natural gas pipeline in Alaska, among the largest in the world, where Japan, South Korea, and other nations want to be our partner with investments of trillions of dollars each. There's never been anything like that one. It will be truly spectacular. It's all set to go. The permitting is gotten. And later this week, I will also take historic action to dramatically expand production of critical minerals and rare earths here in the USA.
Is JD okay? He seems disoriented.
To further combat inflation, we will not only be reducing the cost of energy, but we'll be ending the flagrant waste of taxpayer dollars.
How?
And to that end, I have created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency, GOGE. Perhaps you've heard of it. Perhaps. Which is headed by Elon Musk, who is in the gallery tonight.
Wow.
Thank you, Elon. He's working very hard. He didn't need this. He didn't need this. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Everybody here, even this side, appreciates it, I believe.
I don't know about that.
They just don't want to admit that. Just listen to some of the appalling waste we have already identified.
Oh, here we go.
$22 billion from HHS to provide free housing and cars for illegal aliens. $45 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships in Burma. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is. $8 million to promote LGBTQI+ in the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of. $60 million for indigenous peoples and Afro-Colombian empowerment in Central America. $60 million. $8 million for making mice transgender. This is real. $32 million for a left-wing propaganda operation in Moldova. $10 million for male circumcision in Mozambique. $20 million for the Arab Sesame Street in the Middle East. It's a program. $20 million for a program. $1.9 billion to recently created Decarbonization of Homes Committee, headed up, and we know she's in.
Trump's struggling to read increasingly.
Money was passed over by a woman named Stacey Abrams. Have you ever heard of her? A $3.5 million consulting contract for lavish fish monitoring. $1.5 million for voter confidence in Liberia. $14 million for social cohesion in Mali. $59 million for illegal alien hotel room.
Just from this point of view of a speech, he's giving too many examples. It's going on too long.
The real estate developer, he's done very well. $250,000 to increase vegan local climate action innovation.
Vegan?
Zambia. $42 million for social and behavior change in Uganda. $14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. $47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia. Asia's doing very well with learning. You know what we're doing. Should use it ourselves. And $101 million for DEI contracts at the Department of Education. The most ever paid, nothing even like it. Under the Trump administration, all of these scams, and they're far worse, but I didn't think it was appropriate to talk about them. They're so bad. Many more have been found out and exposed and swiftly terminated by a group of very intelligent, mostly young people, headed up by Elon, and we appreciate it. We found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud.
Quick reminder that not a single dollar of actual fraud, which has a legal definition, has been found so far. Not one single dollar.
And we've taken back the money and reduced our debt to fight inflation and other things. Taken back a lot of that money. We got it just in time. This is just the beginning. The Government Accountability Office, a federal government office, has estimated annual fraud of over $500 billion in our nation, and we are working very hard to stop it. We're going to. We're also identifying shocking levels of incompetence and probable fraud in the Social Security program.
Probable doing a lot of heavy lifting here.
And people that we love rely on. Believe it or not, government databases list 4.7 million Social Security members from people aged 100 to 100.
Now remember that just because people's Social Security numbers are listed doesn't mean they're receiving benefits. Trump has still not demonstrated a single person who is 180 years old supposedly is receiving benefits.
From ages 110 to 119. I don't know any of them. I know some people that are rather elderly, but not quite that elderly. 3.47 million people from ages 120 to 129. 3.9 million people from ages 130 to 139. 3.5 million people from ages 140 to 149. And money is being paid to many of them. And we're searching right now. In fact, Pam, good luck. Good luck. You're going to find it. But a lot of money is paid out to people because it just keeps getting paid and nobody does. And it really hurts Social Security and hurts our country.
Still no evidence of this.
Ages 150 to 159 and over 130,000 people, according to the Social Security databases, are age over 160 years old. We have a healthier country than I thought, Bobby.
Trump must think people are really stupid that they would even fall for this crap. It tells you what he thinks of his supporters, that he's willing to tell these obvious lies.
Including, to finish, 1,039 people between...
Some of them are very stupid. Your people in the chat are correct.
One person between the age of 240 and 249, and one person is listed at 360 years of age. More than 100 years. More than 100 years older than our country. But we're going to find out where that money's going. And it's not going to be pretty. By slashing all of the fraud, waste, and theft we can find, we will defeat inflation, bring down mortgage rates, lower car payments and grocery prices, protect our seniors, and put more money in the pockets of American families.
None of that stuff has quite started yet. Very soon.
And today, interest rates took a beautiful drop, big, beautiful drop. It's about time. And in the near future, I want to do what has not been done in 24 years, balance the federal budget. We're going to balance it.
I would bet anything that Trump does not balance the federal budget.
With that goal in mind, we have developed in great detail what we are calling the Gold Card, which goes on sale very, very soon.
There you go.
For $5 million, we will allow the most successful job-creating people from all over the world to buy a path to U.S. citizenship. It's like the green card, but better and more sophisticated. And these people will have to pay tax in our country. They won't have to pay tax from where they came. The money that they've made, you wouldn't want to do that, but they have to pay tax, create jobs. They'll also be taking people out of colleges and paying for them so that we can keep them.
Of course, whether people have to pay taxes in their home country is not up to the United States. I mean, just none of this is so stupid, it doesn't make any sense.
And create tremendous numbers of jobs and great success for a company out there. So while we take out the criminals, killers, traffickers, and child predators who are allowed to enter our country under the open border policy of these people, the Democrats, the Biden administration, the open border insane policies that you've allowed to destroy our country, we will now bring in brilliant, hardworking, job-creating people. They're going to pay a lot of money, and we're going to reduce our debt with that money.
Right.
Americans have given us a mandate for bold and profound change. For nearly 100 years, the federal bureaucracy has grown until it has crushed our freedoms, ballooned our deficits, and held back America's potential in every possible way. The nation founded by pioneers and risk takers now drowns under millions and millions of pages of regulations and debt. Approvals that should take 10 days to get instead take 10 years, 15 years, and even 20 years before you're rejected. Meanwhile, we have hundreds of thousands of federal workers who have not been showing up to work. My administration will reclaim power from this unaccountable bureaucracy, and we will restore true democracy to America again. federal bureaucrat who resists this change will be removed from office immediately. Because we are draining the swamp. It's very simple. And the days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over.
Wait a second. Didn't he just introduce Elon?
And the next phase of our plan to deliver the greatest economy in history is for this Congress to pass tax cuts for everybody. They're in there, they're waiting for you to vote. And I'm sure that the people on my right, I don't mean the Republican right, but my right here, I'm sure you're going to vote for those tax cuts, because otherwise I don't believe the people will ever vote you into office. So I'm doing you a big favor by telling you that. But I know this group is going to be voting for the tax. Thank you. It's a very, very big part of our plan. We had tremendous success in our first term with it. A very big part of our plan. We're seeking permanent income tax cuts all across the board. And to get urgently needed relief to Americans hit especially hard by inflation, I'm calling for no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security.
So put it in a bill.
For our great seniors. And I also want to make interest payments on car loans tax deductible, but only if the car is made in America. And by the way, we're going to have growth in the auto industry like nobody's ever seen. Plants are opening up all over the place. Deals are being made. Never seen. That's a combination of the election win and...
That is not happening.
It's a beautiful word, isn't it? That, along with our other policies, will allow our auto industry to absolutely boom. It's going to boom. Spoke to the majors today, all
really soon.
Three, the top people, and they're so excited. In fact, already numerous car companies have announced that they will be building massive automobile plants in America, with Honda just announcing a new plant in Indiana, one of the largest anywhere in the world. And this has taken place since our great victory on November 5th, a date which will hopefully go down as one of the most important in the history of our country.
Trump will make benefits from Social Security, which he says is completely fraudulent, tax-free.
On domestic production and all manufacturing. And just as we did before, we will provide 100% expensing. It will be retroactive to January 20th, 2025. And it was one of the main reasons why our tax cuts were so successful in our first term, giving us the most successful economy in the history of our country, first term. We had a great first term.
Every economic indicator was better under Biden. So if that was the best economy, then Biden's had to have been better.
The Trump administration, you will pay a tariff, and in some cases, a rather large one. Other countries have used tariffs against us for decades, and now it's our turn to start using them against those other countries. On average, the European Union, China, Brazil, India, Mexico, and Canada, have you heard of them? And countless other nations charge us tremendously higher tariffs than we charge them. It's very unfair. India charges us auto tariffs higher than 100%. China's average tariff on our products is twice what we charge them. And South Korea's average tariff is 4 times higher. Think of that, 4 times higher. And we give so much help militarily and in so many other ways to South Korea, but that's what happens. This is happening by friend and foe. This system is not fair to the United States and never was. And so on April 2nd, I wanted to make it April 1st, but I didn't want to be accused of April Fool's Day. That's not, just one day was cost us a lot of money.
Ay, ay, ay.
But we're going to do it in April. I'm a very superstitious person. April 2nd, reciprocal tariffs kick in. And whatever they tariff us, other countries, we will tariff them. That's reciprocal, back and forth. Whatever they tax us.
I just learned reciprocals meaning backstage.
If they do non-monetary tariffs to keep us out of their market, then we will do non-monetary barriers to keep them out of our market. There's a lot of that, too. They don't even allow us in their market. We will take in trillions and trillions of dollars and create jobs like we have never seen before. I did it with China and I did it with others, and the Biden administration couldn't do anything about it because there was so much money they couldn't do anything about it. We have been ripped off for decades by nearly every country on earth, and we will not let that happen any longer. Much has been said over the last 3 months about Mexico and Canada, but we have very large deficits with both of them. But even more importantly, they've allowed fentanyl to come into our country at levels never seen before, killing hundreds of thousands of our citizens and many very young, beautiful people, destroying families. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. They are, in effect, receiving subsidies of hundreds of billions of dollars. We pay subsidies to Canada and to Mexico of hundreds of billions of dollars, and the United States will not be doing that any longer. We're not going to do it any longer. Thanks to our America First policies we're putting into place, we have had $1.7 trillion of new investment in America in just the past few weeks. The combination of the election and our economic policies that people of SoftBank, one of the most brilliant anywhere in the world, announced a $200 billion investment. OpenAI and Oracle, Larry Ellison, announced 500.
Is that a tonsil stone that Trump shot out onto his left sleeve? It wouldn't be the first time he's shot one out.
Apple announced $500 billion investment. Tim Cook called me. He said, I cannot spend it fast enough. It's going to be much higher than that, I believe. They'll be building their plants here instead of in China. And just yesterday, Taiwan Semiconductor, the biggest in the world, most powerful in the world, has a tremendous amount, 97% of the market, announced a $165 billion investment to build the most powerful chips on earth right here in the USA. And we're not giving them any money. Your CHIPS Act is a horrible, horrible thing. We give hundreds of billions of dollars, and it doesn't mean a thing. They take our money and they don't spend it. All that meant to them, we're giving them no money. All that was important to them was they didn't want to pay the tariffs, so they came and they're building in many other.
Trump really struggling to explain a lot of these concepts.
We just want to protect our businesses and our people, and they will come because they won't have to pay tariffs if they build in America. So it's very amazing. You should get rid of the CHIP Act, and whatever's left over, Mr. Speaker, you should use it to reduce debt or any other reason you want to.
Okay.
Our new trade policy will also be great for the American farmer. I love the farmer.
Farmers are about to get crushed.
Who will now be selling into our home market, the USA, because nobody is going to be able to compete with you. because there's goods that come in from other countries and companies. They're really in a bad position in so many different ways. They're uninspected. They may be very dirty and disgusting, and they come in and they pour in, and they hurt our American farmers. The tariffs will go on agricultural product coming into America, and our farmers, starting on April 2nd, it may be a little bit of an adjustment period. We had that before when I made the deal with China, $50 billion of purchases, and I said, just bear with me, and they did. They did. Probably have to bear with me again, and this will be even better. That was great. The problem with it was that Biden didn't enforce it. He didn't enforce it. $50 billion of purchases, and we were doing great, but Biden did not enforce it, and it hurt our farmers. But our farmers are going to have a field day right now. So to our farmers,
I think he was just off script, right? Just kind of riffing, which is never good.
It's all going to happen. And I have also imposed a 25% tariff on foreign aluminum, copper, lumber, and steel, because if we don't have, as an example, steel and lots of other things, we don't have a military, and frankly, we just won't have a country very long. Here today is a proud American steelworker, fantastic person from Decatur, Alabama, Jeff Denard. Has been working at the same steel plant for 27 years in a job that has allowed him to serve as the captain of his local volunteer fire department, raise 7 children with his beautiful wife, Nicole, and over the years provide a loving home for more than 40 foster children. So great, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Stories like Jeff's remind us that tariffs are not just about protecting American jobs. They're about protecting the soul of our country. Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again, and it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much. No, you're not. Oh. And look where Biden took us. Very low, the lowest we've ever been. Jeff, I want to thank you very much. And I also want to recognize another person who has devoted herself to foster care community. She works so hard on it. A very loving person, our magnificent First Lady of the United States. What?
Any details?
Has yielded incredible results, helping prepare our nation's future leaders as they enter the workforce. Our First Lady is joined by 2 impressive young women, very impressive. Haley Ferguson, who benefited from the First Lady's Fostering the Future initiative and is poised to complete her education and become a teacher. And Elliston Berry, who became a victim of an illicit deepfake image produced by a peer. With Elliston's help, the Senate just passed the Take It Down Act, and this is so important. Thank you very much, John. John Thune, thank you. Stand up, John. Okay. Thank you, John. Thank you all very much.
It's all very shaky.
Thank you. And thank you to John Thune and the Senate. Great job. To criminalize the publication of such images online is a terrible, terrible thing. And once it passes the House, I look forward to signing that bill into law. Thank you. And I'm going to use that bill for myself, too, if you don't mind. Because nobody gets treated worse than I do online. Nobody.
Right.
That's great. Thank you very much to the Senate. Thank you. But if we truly care about protecting Americans' children, no step is more crucial than securing America's borders. Over the past 4 years, 21 million people poured into the United States. Many of them were murderers, human traffickers, gang members, and other criminals from the streets of dangerous cities all throughout the world. Because of Joe Biden's insane and very dangerous open border policies, they are now strongly embedded in our country, but we are getting them out and getting them out fast.
It seems that they're not really getting them out fast. And in fact, many folks have already been released, quote, into the country, the way Trump said Biden used to do.
I thank Tom Homan and Christy. I want to thank you and Paul of Border Patrol. I want to thank you. What a job they've all done. Everybody, Border Patrol, ICE, law enforcement in general is incredible. We have to take care of our law enforcement. Have to.
You can tell he really means it and feels passionately about this issue.
A brilliant 22-year-old nursing student named Laken Riley, the best in her class, admired by everybody, went out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia. That morning, Laken was viciously attacked, assaulted, beaten, brutalized, and horrifically murdered. Laken was stolen from us by a savage illegal alien gang member who was arrested while trespassing across Biden's open southern border and then set loose into the United States under the heartless policies of that failed administration. It was indeed a failed administration. He had then been arrested and released in a Democrat-run sanctuary city, a disaster, before ending the life of this beautiful young angel. With us this evening are Laken's beloved mother, Allison, and her sister, Lauren. Last year, I told Laken's grieving parents that we would ensure their daughter would not have died in vain. That's why the very first bill I signed into law as your 47th president mandates the detention of all dangerous criminal aliens who threaten public safety. It's a very strong, powerful act. It's called the Laken-Riley Act. So, Alice.
You know, a lot of the people that are pointed to by presidents during these speeches, you get the feeling that they're sort of like a little bit being used. But this seems so just overtly these people are being used in as political pawns that it's like overshadowing other instances of it.
Thank you very much. Since taking office, my administration has launched the most sweeping border and immigration crackdown in American history, and we quickly achieved the lowest numbers of illegal border crossers ever recorded. Thank you.
Remember that these are unproven statistics, which also conflict with what Fox News published. We've got a whole segment about it today. I would not believe a word of this.
And our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Okay.
Thank you. Joe Biden didn't just open our borders, he flew illegal aliens over them to overwhelm our schools, hospitals, and communities throughout the country. Entire towns like Aurora, Colorado, and Springfield, Ohio, buckled under the weight of the migrant occupation and corruption like nobody's ever seen before. Beautiful towns destroyed. Now, just as I promised in my inaugural address, we are achieving the great liberation of America.
Does anyone believe that? Like, do Trump supporters even believe that crap?
But there still is much work to be done. Here tonight is a woman I have gotten to know, Alexis Nungari from Houston. Wonderful woman. Last June, Alexis's 12-year-old daughter, her precious Jocelyn, walked to a nearby convenience store. She was kidnapped, tied up, assaulted for 2 hours under a bridge, and horrifically murdered. Arrested and charged with this heinous crime are 2 illegal alien monsters from Venezuela, released into America by the last administration through their ridiculous open border. The death of this beautiful 12-year-old girl and the agony of her mother and family touched our entire nation greatly. Alexis, I promised that we would always remember your daughter, your magnificent daughter, and earlier tonight I signed an order keeping my word to you. One thing I have learned about Jocelyn is that she loved animals so much. She loved nature. Across Galveston Bay, from where Jocelyn lived in Houston, you will find a magnificent national wildlife refuge, a pristine, peaceful, 34,000-acre sanctuary for all of God's creatures on the edge of the Gulf of America. Alexis, moments ago, I formally renamed that refuge in loving memory of your beautiful daughter, Jocelyn. So, Mr. Vice President, if you would, may I have the order? Thank you very much. All 3 savages charged with Jocelyn and Lakin's murders were members of the Venezuelan prison gang, the toughest gang, they say, in the world, known as Tren de Aragua. 2 weeks ago, I officially designated this gang, along with MS-13 and the bloodthirsty Mexican drug cartels, as foreign terrorist organizations.
Gingrich loves it.
They are now officially in the same category as ISIS, and that's not good for them. Countless thousands of these terrorists were welcomed into the U.S. by the Biden administration. But now every last one will be rounded up and forcibly removed from our country, or, if they're too dangerous, put in jails, standing trial in this country, because we don't want them to come back ever. With us this evening is a warrior on the front lines of that battle, Border Patrol Agent Roberto Ortiz. Great guy. In January, Roberto and another agent were patrolling by the Rio Grande near an area known as Cartel Island. Doesn't sound too nice to me. When heavily armed gunmen started shooting at them. Roberto saw that his partner was totally exposed, at great danger, and he leapt into action, returning fire and providing crucial seconds for his fellow agent to seek safety, just barely.
Trump's really struggling with the script here.
Of that event, and it was not good. Agent Ortiz, we salute you for your great courage and for your line of fire that you took and for the bravery that you showed. We honor you, and we will always honor you. Thank you, Roberto, very much. Thank you, Roberto. And I actually got to know him on my many calls to the border. He's a great gentleman. The territory to the immediate south of our border is now dominated entirely by criminal cartels that murder, rape, torture, and exercise total control. They have total control over a whole nation, posing a grave threat to our national security. The cartels are waging war on America, and it's time for America to wage war on the cartels, which we are doing. Five nights ago, Mexican authorities, because of our tariff policies being imposed on them, think of this, handed over to us 29 of the biggest cartel leaders in their country. That has never happened before. They want to make us happy. First time ever.
Right.
But we need Mexico and Canada to do much more than they've done, and they have to stop the fentanyl and drugs pouring into the USA. They're going to stop it. I have sent Congress a detailed funding request laying out exactly how we will eliminate these threats to protect our homeland and complete the largest deportation operation in American history, larger even than current record holder, President Dwight D. Eisenhower, a moderate man, but someone who believed very strongly in borders. Americans expect Congress to send me this funding without delay so I can sign it into law. So, Mr. Speaker, John Thune, both of you, I hope you're going to be able to do that, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. Mr. Leader, thank you. Thank you very much. And let's get it to me. I'll sign it so fast, you won't even believe it.
Right. You can really trust the guy, huh?
And as we reclaim our sovereignty, we must also bring back law and order to our cities and towns.
Incredible.
In recent years, our justice system has been turned upside down by radical left lunatics.
Uh-oh.
Many jurisdictions virtually ceased enforcing the law against dangerous repeat offenders while weaponizing law enforcement against political opponents like me. My administration has acted swiftly and decisively to restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law, starting at the FBI and the DOJ. Pam, good luck. Cash, wherever you may be, good luck. Good luck. Pam Bondi. Good luck. So important. Going to do a great job. Cash, thank you. Thank you, Cash.
Total nut.
They've already started very strong. They're going to do a fantastic job. You're going to be very proud of them. We're also once again giving our police officers the support, protection, and respect they so dearly deserve. They have to get it. They have such a hard, dangerous job, but we're going to make it less dangerous. The problem is the bad guys don't respect the law, but they're starting to respect it, and they soon will respect it. This also includes our great fire departments throughout the country. Our firemen and women are unbelievable people, and we'll never forget them. And besides that, they voted for me in record numbers, so I have no choice. One year ago this month, 31-year-old New York police officer Jonathan Diller, unbelievably wonderful person and a great officer, was gunned down at a traffic stop on Long Island. I went to his funeral. The vicious criminal charged with his murder had 21 prior arrests, and they were rough arrests, too. He was a real bad one. The thug in the seat next to him had 14 prior arrests and went by the name of Killer. He was Killer. He killed other people, they say, a lot of them. I attended Officer Diller's service, and when I met his wife and one-year-old son, Ryan, it was very inspirational, actually. His widow's name is Stephanie, and she is here tonight. Stephanie, thank you very much, Stephanie. Thank you very much.
The lurid story is, of course, really a hallmark of any Trump speech.
Stephanie, we're going to make sure that Ryan knows his dad was a true hero, New York's finest, and we're going to get these cold-blooded killers and repeat offenders off our streets, and we're going to do it fast. Got to stop it. They get out with 28 arrests. They push people into subway trains. They hit people over the head, back of the head with baseball bats. We got to get them out of here. I've already signed an executive order requiring a mandatory death penalty for anyone who murders a police officer. And tonight I'm asking Congress to pass that policy into permanent law. I'm also asking for a new crime bill getting tough on repeat offenders while enhancing protections for America's police officers so they can do their jobs without fear of their lives being totally destroyed. They don't want to be killed. We're not going to let them be killed. Joining us in the gallery tonight is a young man who truly loves our police. His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old, and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer.
This is not good.
But in 2018, DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago.
You might be wondering, what's the connection to Trump policy here? And you would be right to wonder that, because nothing. Cuts to Medicaid. You know, I mean,
on a quest to make his dream come true, and DJ has been sworn in as an honorary law enforcement officer actually a number of times. The police love him. The police departments love him.
Trump can
and
barely
tonight,
speak.
DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service. Thank you, DJ. DJ's doctors believe his cancer likely came from a chemical he was exposed to when he was younger. Since 1975, rates of child cancer have increased by more than 40%. Reversing this trend is one of the top priorities for our new presidential commission to make America healthy again, chaired by our new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, Jr.
This is one of the stupidest timelines anyone could have ever imagined. They're cutting funding for cancer research. Oh, was that Tulsi?
With the name Kennedy, you would have thought everybody over here would have been cheering. How quickly they forget. Our goal is to get toxins out of our environment, poisons out of our food supply, and keep our children healthy.
And he's going to do it all by getting rid of regulation. Imagine that.
Not long ago, and you can't even believe these numbers, 1 in 10,000 children had autism. 1 in 10,000.
Here we go.
And now it's 1 in 36.
Will Trump do anti-vax?
Wrong. 1 in 36. Think of that. So we're going to find out what it is, and there's nobody better than Bobby and all of the people that are working with you. You have the best to figure out what is going on. Okay, Bobby? Good luck. It's a very important job. Thank you.
What a cult.
Thank you. My administration is also working to protect our children from toxic ideologies in our schools. A few years ago, January Littlejohn and her husband discovered that their daughter's school had secretly socially transitioned their 13-year-old little girl. Teachers and administrators conspired to deceive January and her husband while encouraging her daughter to use a new name and pronouns. They, them pronoun, actually, all without telling January, who is here tonight and is now a courageous...
She should be furious.
...form of child abuse. January, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Stories like this are why, shortly after taking office, I signed an executive order banning public schools from indoctrinating our children with transgender ideology.
They shouldn't be told trans people exist.
I also signed an order to cut off all taxpayer funding to any institution that engages in the sexual mutilation of our youth. And now I want Congress to pass a bill permanently banning and criminalizing sex changes on children and forever ending the lie that any child is trapped in the wrong body. This is a big lie. And our message to every child in America is that you are perfect exactly the way God made you.
Unless you're gay or bi or trans or...
Because we're getting wokeness out of our schools and out of our military, and it's already out, and it's out of our society. We don't want it.
Some terms and conditions may apply.
Wokeness is bad. It's gone. It's gone. And we feel so much better for it, don't we? Don't we feel better? Our service members won't be activists and ideologues. They will be fighters and warriors. They will fight for our country. And Pete, congratulations. Secretary of Defense, congratulations. And he's not big into the woke movement, I can tell you. I know him well. I am pleased to report that in January, the U.S. Army had its single best recruiting month in 15 years, and that all armed services are having among the best recruiting results ever in the history of our services. What a difference. And you know, it was just a few months ago where the results were exactly the opposite. We couldn't recruit anywhere. We couldn't recruit. Now we're having the best results just about that we've ever had. What a tremendous turnaround. It's really a beautiful thing to see. People love our country again. It's very simple. They love our country, and they love being in our military again. So it's a great thing, and thank you very much. Great job. Thank you. We're joined tonight by a young man, Jason Hartley, who knows the weight of that call of duty. Jason's father, grandfather, and great-grandfather all wore the uniform. Jason tragically lost his dad, who was also a Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy when he was just a boy, and now he wants to carry on the family legacy of service. Jason is a senior in high school, a 6-letter varsity athlete, a really good athlete, they say, a brilliant student with a 4.46, that's good, GPA. And his greatest dream is to attend the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. And Jason, that's a very big deal getting in. That's a hard one to get into. But I'm pleased to inform you that your application has been accepted. You will soon be joining the Corps of Cadets.
Wow. Is this like did Trump get him in regardless of qualifications, which would be like, I guess, affirmative action, or like what? What is this?
Thank you. Jason, you're going to be on the long gray line, Jason. As Commander-in-Chief, my focus is on building the most powerful military of the future. As a first step, I'm asking Congress to fund a state-of-the-art Golden Dome missile defense shield to protect our homeland, all made in the USA.
Everybody gets a car, yeah.
And Ronald Reagan wanted to do it long ago, but the technology just wasn't there, not even close. But now we have the technology. It's incredible, actually. And other places, they have it. Israel has it. Other places have it. And the United States should have it too, right, Tim, right? They should have it too. So I want to thank you. But it's a very, very important. This is a very dangerous world. We should have it.
There's a lot of reasons why an Iron Dome doesn't really make sense in the United States, given Canada and Mexico, north and south, and then the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, and of course the Gulf of Mexico.
Resurrect the American shipbuilding industry, including commercial shipbuilding and military shipbuilding. And for that purpose, I am announcing tonight that we will create a new Office of Shipbuilding in the White House and offer special tax incentives to bring this industry home to America where it belongs. We used to make so many ships. We don't make them anymore very much, but we're going to make them very fast, very soon. It will have a huge impact. To further enhance our national security, my administration will be reclaiming the Panama Canal, and we've already started doing it.
Did Trump just declare war?
Just today, a large American company announced they are buying both ports around the Panama Canal and lots of other things having to do with the Panama Canal and a couple of other canals. The Panama Canal was built by Americans for Americans, not for others, but others could use it. But it was built at tremendous cost of American blood and treasure. 38,000 workers died building the Panama Canal. They died of malaria. They died of snake bites and mosquitoes. Not a nice place to work. They paid them very highly to go there, knowing there was a 25% chance that they would die. The most expensive project also that was ever built in our country's history, if you bring it up to modern day costs. It was given away by the Carter administration for $1. But that agreement has been violated very severely. We didn't give it to China. We gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back.
We are at an hour and 22 minutes of this drivel. It's a long one, folks.
Rio in charge. Good luck, Marco. Now, we know who to blame if anything goes wrong. Marco's been amazing, and he's going to do a great job.
Someday.
Think of it. He got 100 votes. You know, he was approved with actually 99, but the 100th was this gentleman, and I feel very certain. So let's assume he got 100 votes, and I'm either very, very happy about that or I'm very concerned about it. But he's already proven. I mean, he's a great gentleman. He's respected by everybody, and we appreciate you voting for Marco. He's going to do a fantastic job. Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
He's doing a great job. Great job. And I also have a message tonight for the incredible people of Greenland.
Right.
We strongly support your right to determine your own future. And if you choose, we welcome you into the United States of America. We need Greenland for national security and even international security, and we're working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security, and I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it. We will keep you safe. We will make you rich, and together we will take Greenland to heights like you have never thought possible before. It's a very small population, but very, very large piece of land and very, very important for military security. America is once again standing strong against the forces of radical Islamic terrorism. 3.5 years ago, ISIS terrorists killed 13 American service members and countless others in the Abbey Gate bombing during the disastrous and incompetent withdrawal from Afghanistan. Not that they were withdrawing, it was the way they withdrew. Perhaps the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. Tonight, I am pleased to announce that we have just apprehended the top terrorist responsible for that atrocity, and he is right now on his way here to face the swift sword of American justice.
Right.
And I want to thank especially the government of Pakistan for helping arrest this monster. This was a very momentous day for those 13 families who I actually got to know very well, most of them, whose children were murdered, and the many people that were so badly, over 42 people, so badly injured on that fateful day in Afghanistan. What a horrible day. Such incompetence was shown that when Putin saw what happened, I guess he said, wow, maybe this is my chance. That's how bad it was. Should have never happened. Grossly incompetent people. I spoke to many of the parents and loved ones, and they're all in our hearts tonight. Just spoke to them on the phone. We had a big call Every one of them called, and everybody was on the line, and they did nothing but cry with happiness. They were very happy, as happy as you can be under those circumstances. Their child, brother, sister, son, daughter was killed for no reason whatsoever. In the Middle East, we're bringing back our hostages from Gaza. In my first term, we achieved one of the most groundbreaking peace agreements in generations, the Abraham Accords. And now we're going to build on that foundation to create a more peaceful and prosperous future for the entire region. A lot of things are happening in the Middle East. People have been talking about that so much lately with everything going on with Ukraine and Russia. But a lot of things are happening in the Middle East. It's a rough neighborhood, actually. I'm also working tirelessly to end the savage conflict in Ukraine. Millions of Ukrainians and Russians have been needlessly killed or wounded in this horrific and brutal conflict with no end in sight. The United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense with no security, with no anything.
Uh-oh.
Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes.
Oh my God. This guy's nuts.
2,000 people are being killed every single week. More than that. They're Russian young people. They're Ukrainian young people. They're not Americans. But I want it to stop. Meanwhile, Europe has sadly spent more money buying Russian oil and gas than they have spent on defending Ukraine, by far. Think of that. They've spent more buying Russian oil and gas than they have defending. And we've spent perhaps $350 billion, like taking candy from a baby. That's what happened. And they've spent $100 billion. What a difference that is. And we have an ocean separating us, and they don't. But we're getting along very well with them, and lots of good things are happening. Biden has authorized more money in this fight than Europe has spent by billions and billions of dollars. It's hard to believe that they wouldn't have stopped it and said,
he's just rambling now.
You got to be equal to us. But that didn't happen. Earlier today, I received an important letter from President Zelensky of Ukraine. The letter reads, Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. Nobody wants peace more than the Ukrainians, he said. My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts. We do really value how much America has done to help Ukraine maintain its sovereignty and independence. Regarding the agreement on minerals and security, Ukraine is ready to sign it at any time that is convenient for you. I appreciate that he sent this letter, just got it a little while ago. Simultaneously, we've had serious discussions with Russia and have received strong signals that they are ready for peace. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't that be beautiful? It's time to stop this madness. It's time to halt the killing. It's time to end this senseless war. If you want to end wars, you have to talk to both sides. Nearly 4 years ago, amid rising tensions, a history teacher named Mark Fogel was detained in Russia and sentenced to 14 years in a penal colony. Rough stuff. The previous administration barely lifted a finger to help him. They knew he was innocent, but they had no idea where to begin. But last summer, I promised his 95-year-old mother, Malphine, that we would bring her boy safely back home. After 22 days in office, I did just that, and they are here tonight. To Mark and his great mom, we are delighted to have you safe and sound and with us. As fate would have it, Mark Fogel was born in a small rural town in Butler, Pennsylvania. Have you heard of it? Where his mother has lived for the past 78 years. I just happened to go there last July 13th for a rally. That was not pleasant. And that is where I met his beautiful mom right before I walked onto that stage. And I told her I would not forget what she said about her son. And I never did I? Never forgot. Less than 10 minutes later, at that same rally, gunfire rang out, and a sick and deranged assassin unloaded 8 bullets from his sniper's perch into a crowd of many thousands of people. My life was saved by a fraction of an inch, but some were not so lucky. Corey Comparator was a firefighter, a veteran, a Christian, a husband, a devoted father, and above all, a protector. When the sound of gunshots pierced the air, it was a horrible sound. Corey knew instantly what it was and what to do. He threw himself on top of his wife and daughters and shielded them from the bullets with his own body. Corey was hit really hard. You know the story from there. He sacrificed his life to save theirs. 2 others, very fine people, were also seriously hit. But thankfully, with the help of 2 great country doctors, we thought they were gone and they were saved. So those doctors had great talent. We're joined by Corey's wife, Helen, who was his high school sweetheart, and their 2 beloved daughters, Allison and Kaylee. Thank you.
By the way, remember, Trump has said many times, God directed the path of the bullet so it would only graze his ear. That same path killed the guy he's talking about. Why would God do that, right? I mean, remember this whole crazy thing Trump came up with.
To Helen, Allison, and Kaylee, Corey is looking down on his 3 beautiful ladies right now, and he is cheering you on. He loves you. He is cheering you on. Corey was taken from us much too soon, but his destiny was to leave us all with a shining example of the selfless devotion of a true American patriot. It was love like Corey's that built our country, and it's love like Corey's that is going to make our country more majestic than ever before. I believe that my life was saved that day in Butler for a very good reason.
There it is.
I was saved by God to make America great again. Right. I believe that.
And under that same plan, Corey had to die. And they're clapping. What a world.
Thank you very much. From the patriots of Lexington and Concord to the heroes of Gettysburg and Normandy, from
It sounds like, thank God, it sounds like he's going into the conclusion.
trailblazers who climbed the Rockies, and from the legends who soared at Kitty Hawk to the astronauts who touched the moon, Americans have always been the people who defied all odds, transcended all dangers, made the most extraordinary sacrifices, and did whatever it took to defend our children, our country, and our freedom. And as we have seen in this chamber tonight, that same strength, faith, love, and spirit is still alive and thriving in the hearts of the American people. Despite the best efforts of those who would try to censor us, silence us, break us, destroy us, Americans are today a proud, free, sovereign, and independent nation that will always be free, and we will fight for it till death. We will never let anything happen to our beloved country.
Right.
Because we are a country of doers, dreamers,
Other than all of this.
Our ancestors crossed a vast ocean, strode into the unknown wilderness, and carved their fortunes from the rock and soil of a perilous and very dangerous frontier. They chased our destiny across a boundless continent. They built the railroads, laid the highways, and graced the world with American marvels like the Empire State Building, the mighty Hoover Dam, and the towering Golden Gate Bridge. They lit the world with electricity, broke free of the force of gravity, fired up the engines of American industry, vanquished the communists, fascists, and Marxists all over the world, and gave us countless modern wonders sculptured out of iron, glass, and steel. We stand on the shoulders of these pioneers who won and built the modern age. These workers who poured their sweat into the skylines of our cities. These warriors who shed their blood on fields of battle and gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. Now it is our time to take up the righteous cause of American liberty. And it is our turn to take America's destiny into our own hands and begin the most thrilling days in the history of our country. This will be our greatest era. With God's help, over the next 4 years, we are going to lead this nation even higher, and we are going to forge the freest, most advanced, most dynamic, and most dominant civilization ever to exist on the face of this earth. We are going to create the highest quality of life, build the safest and wealthiest and healthiest and most vital communities anywhere in the world. We are going to conquer the vast frontiers of science, and we are going to lead humanity into space and plant the American flag on the planet Mars and even far beyond.
That was Elon yelling.
And through it all, we are going to rediscover the unstoppable power of the American spirit. And we are going to renew unlimited promise of the American dream. Every single day, we will stand up and we will fight, fight, fight for the country our citizens believe in and for the country our people deserve.
Unlikely. I'm starting to think not all of this stuff is going to happen.
My fellow Americans, get ready for an incredible future, because the golden age of America has only just begun. It will be like nothing that has ever been seen before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Wow. All right, listen, it was even worse than I expected. Even worse than I expected. Thank you for joining me. I am going to go immediately into the studio, this studio. I'll just exit and come back in and record a full reaction to this. Wow. Remember that at this key time, progressive media really will need your help. Consider hitting the subscribe button on YouTube before you leave. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple or Spotify. It's free. It really helps us. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you to everybody who joined me, and I will see you